So when it comes to actually sourcing your suppliers, there's 4 main steps. Now our course goes into massive detail on what to look for and how to tell if your supplier is a good one, and we have a supplier checker tool too for you to use. So the main things that you really want to focus on is to make sure that the manufacturer specializes in your type of product. A lot of people tend to find a good supplier and they just want to use that supplier because they can see that they've been in the manufacturing business for so many years and they've had so many good reviews. However, unless they actually specialize in your product, you might find that the results aren't quite as expected, and it would be better to source a provider that does actually specialize in your niche. One thing I'd also like to say is that if you find a supplier has many products, different products, they could actually be a selling agent rather than a manufacturer themselves. You can tell this by their annual revenue each year also, so there are some telltale marks that will enable you to see if they are an agent. Obviously, they're going to be a middleman, so to get the best price, you're going to want to go directly to the manufacturer, which is what we're going to be showing you how to do. When it comes to evaluating the suppliers themselves, you can look at their capabilities and qualifications, reviews, and also whether they're verified as a manufacturer on Alibaba or Global Sources. I'll show you some certifications on the next slide, but the negotiation phase as well is important when you're trying to choose the ideal supplier for you. Maybe there's sort of cultural misunderstandings or negotiation conversations that do vary dependent on cultures. So for example, in China, they like to negotiate. So they could give you a price and then it's expected that there'll be the bargaining process to enable both sides to find a happy medium to proceed. So do be aware that you might have to negotiate a bit. Don't be put off by it because it is part of Chinese culture and in many other Asian countries too. And the final step I'd like to just mention is to determine your supplier from multiple aspects. Don't just go for the best price. Maybe they have a great response time. Maybe their English ability is better, or maybe you get given a dedicated person who you can speak to and contact at any time. So do take in all aspects into account. So given that the company profiles, you're going to see on Alibaba and Global Sources, you can look at the complete company profile, how many years they've been trading for, their annual revenue, and also their product scopes and social compliance certificates. All of these need to be taken into account when you are deciding on your supplier. The more certifications that you can see that are actually on the platforms themselves will really show and give you peace of mind in your chosen supplier. If there are no certifications, then it could be a warning sign that maybe this company hasn't been trading in this product for a long period of time, or maybe they haven't actually passed the qualification tests and certifications that are required. So alarm bells could start ringing. But again, all of our courses will provide downloadable templates, of which a supplier sourcing is one of them. So I'm going to show you that now. This is the screenshots of the Alibaba platform and also the Global Sources. These are the two biggest. If they're not on Alibaba or Global Sources, they're usually not one of the big manufacturers. So my bit of advice here would be to go to one of these two, and especially initially stick to these larger platforms. They're renowned for doing this business, and any manufacturer who is any manufacturer should be on one of these platforms. You'll be able to go into all and see all of the details of the company profile. Our Alibaba course will take you step by step in what to look for on each of these platforms. We focus on Alibaba, but Global Sources is pretty much the same thing. If you can get to grips with Alibaba, then Global Sources will be extremely similar. Slightly different layout, but pretty much the same. So I would definitely check for the prices on both, as they can be different. Just one other thing to note as well, there are two different versions of the Alibaba website. There's an Alibaba for the Western world, and there's also an Alibaba for China, and the prices do vary. So it's very easy to go onto the Alibaba website in China, and you can use, for example, a Google Chrome platform. You can use a translator tool, so you will find the same products will be on both platforms, but the prices may be different. So that's just something to be aware of. And also you have AliExpress and the Ali warehouse trade. There are different forms of the Alibaba platform, and some of them have different minimum order quantities, different prices, and they are slightly different in some aspects. And so we'll be going through that in more detail too. Now, when it comes to the RFQ, the request for quotation, and also in the negotiation, you're going to want to see how quickly these RFQs come back to you. Some of them will reply to you within 24 hours. Generally, it's a good idea to allow them at least 5 to 7 days. Maybe give them a chase in the middle to ensure that they've received your request, and to make sure that your request hasn't gone amiss and that they will get back to you. But generally they will. If they don't, again, warning bells should start ringing, and maybe after 7 days it could be good to maybe scratch this supplier from your list, because they might not be as reliable as some of the others in getting back to you. So that's just something to be aware of. And when it comes to negotiation, don't be shy. Always ask. You can ask for free samples. Many manufacturers will give you free samples if you ask and you pay for the delivery costs. That's completely common practice. But also when you're negotiating, you've got to know your best, BATNA and WATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement and your worst alternative to a negotiated agreement. You'll gradually get a feel for this over time, but by getting multiple RFQs is going to put you in a stronger position. So definitely get a few, not too many, obviously, RFQs. Usually between 5 and 8 will be sufficient, but it's good to get more than one, definitely. So yeah, timing is crucial as well, especially in the negotiation process itself. You could, for example, depending on the stage of the process, you could negotiate a better agreement if you come in at the right time, and this comes back to sort of seasonality as well. You can get a feel for the negotiation stages and when you need to start requesting maybe different bits and pieces, maybe additions to your order, etc. Or if you are designing your product yourself, an OEM product, maybe you want to make some changes a little bit down the line, you realize something's been missed, so timing is crucial. Maybe you can say, okay, we'll produce a few more of these, if you could please make this some small few changes for us. Little bits and pieces like that can sort of work wonders in your favour, and it's usually beneficial for the supplier too, so they're usually happy to do it. Perhaps if you increase your order or give them slightly longer to provide your order, just be aware that timing is a crucial part of the negotiation process. So when you are actually choosing your suppliers, we give you this downloadable template, supplier research spreadsheet. It's pretty much that you can compare the suppliers against each other. So it's got all of the major fields that you're going to need there, all of the details that you gather. This supplier overview needs to be used continually, much like the product specification document, so that you can really keep tabs all the way through the process of all the different suppliers, and then you can narrow down your supplier sort of search and pinpoint the ideal supplier for you. Also, on our website, as I've mentioned, we have a supplier check tool, the sort of orange colour on the right. That it has a list of questions which you can go through. If you're trying to decide which supplier is best, it gives you a sort of percentage score on whether or not you should choose this supplier or maybe a different supplier. So you can actually run the same check tool off multiple suppliers to see which one ranks the highest. You will also see there on the left the yellow box, the supplier list. We can actually provide you with a customized supplier list. The platform itself and the course will show you all of the essential elements so that you can choose your own suppliers and what to look for. However, quite often some of our clients don't have the time, or maybe initially don't have the confidence to want to choose the supplier themselves. So as an additional service, if you'd like us to, we can actually provide a list for you, a short list basically. It will come in a PDF document, completely customized for your product and your target market. So for example here, the sample list for the gaming mouse gives the criteria that you provide us with, and then we give the suppliers based on your information, and we give a list of them for you, why we've decided that they are a good supplier to use, and we highlight the benefits of using them. So we can actually do that for you. We can get these to you within a few days, and it'll save you huge amounts of time and also give you peace of mind as well that we are on your side working for you to find the best suppliers for your chosen product. And that's a 5-page document that you can actually obtain from us.